things real time, being able to be the one to put the corals and tomorrow to come back to the same area and you see a small school of fish just like swimming around the area, or even there's some territorial type of fish. You're the one who grew the coral, but then they are fighting you off like, hey, this is my place. So it's like, wow, it's interesting. You just feel like, wow, I just gave a fish home.
This place used to be a forest, and today it has turned out to be a bare land. And this is what leads to a desert. And that is why we do what we do.
What is my passion for the planet? Is my passion planting trees? Is my passion speaking on behalf of other people? What do you think you want to fight for?
We want it now! The science is clear! We need climate justice! We need
Yes, I was asking, this is the data you've collected today with Daisha?
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
Today I was just practicing the species.
Okay. So you want me to read the species and then...
I think that might be the quickest way.
Okay.
Yes, let's do that.
These baby corals is what we grow. So this is an example of a dead coral fragment that I collected in the ocean for this display. Between the 6 to 12 months, this coral will grow from this small size to a handful size. And that's when we come to do the last process, which is the outplanting. When you see a coral reef that's healthy, you will immediately know because it's actually colorful, it's full of diversity of fish and even invertebrates like the cucumbers and the urchins. But then when you dive in areas where there's like rubble, that's when you know it's degraded. There's nothing. When you swim there, you won't see any fish species. You just basically see no life.
Well, coral reefs are very important for the whole ocean actually. They are the breeding ground for many different types of fish. So actually 30% of all fish species that live in the ocean use coral reefs in one of their life stages. So they're very crucial as breeding grounds for the ecosystem.
Main problem that we're trying to solve, specific to our site, is degradation. And that was because of previous destructive fishing methods and also climate change. There have been some bleaching events in the past years, and they have affected the corals along Wasini Channel, which is the area where we restore our corals. There's been talks between the fishermen, and they realize, the ones that who have been fishing there for quite a period of time, they have noticed that the fish stock is decreasing.
Hapa Mkwilo sote kazi yetu na kuvua. Kwa hivyo hakuna mtu ambaye anaweza kwenda smoni yake na akasema kwamba mimi nataka kufanya kibarua sasa hivi mpaka bahari imekuja sawa. Kwa hivyo sisi tumezoea hii kazi. Kwa hivyo hata iharibike vipi bado tunafanya kazi.
Kwa sawa. And when you ask them why, they'll tell you the corals are gone. These fishermen already from traditional knowledge already know that coral reefs are important for fishing. Tunaomba pia nyinyi mtusaidie kwa sababu sisi peke yetu hatuwezi fanya. Na kutusaidia ni kwamba kutotumia uvuvi za haramu katika upande huo. Kama unajua mtu anafanya uvuvi haramu upande huu, kumkanya na kumweleza kwa nini matumbawe haya, kwa nini tusitumie uvuvi huu katika hii mahali.
Bwana Mtua. Morning. Salama. Mzuri sana. Haya, thank you. Niko sawa. Tutaenda site huko juu. Tutaka tu kidogo, tutaenda tu. We are actually the real victims of climate change when it comes to climate change issues. We have prolonged droughts, we have low food, we have increased temperatures. I said as a young person, I wanted to bring an impact in my community. And 10 years down the line, we have been able to grow up to 1 million tree seedlings. We have 46 different types of tree species. So from here is where we put them into a lorry and then we take it back into our tree nursery. Our target is tree growing in 5 dryland counties of Kenya. That's Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, Isiolo and Marsabit. Our survival rate is at 85% for all the trees that we have planted. So that also motivates us to do more, to increase more. And hopefully we might, most likely from this year, as we celebrate our 10th anniversary, we might adjust our target to up to 100 million. The reason why we are doing the fruit trees is it's easier telling the farmer or the community member, we want you to plant 10 trees. So out of the 10, 5 are going to be fruit trees and 5 are going to be indigenous and exotic. So they look at the value of the fruit trees. So you'll see the same community member coming back to you and tell you, can I get another 10 trees? Or can you add me more? And that's where we save on labor, because it's the community themselves who do plant the trees on their own. Ours to make sure we produce and we provide. Aniga dua papa no matalo. Waino yashi? Odi.
Karibu. عبد القادر.
السلام عليكم ماما.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
ما في عندي؟
الحمد لله. شو دواو؟
Nimekuwa kutembelea?
Haya karibu.
Asante.
Karibu kwa boma.
Haya.
Alhamdulillah.
Fi'an.
Salama salama.
Nimekuja kazi.
Haya.
Tuone shamba yako inaendelea namna gani.
Haya karibu basi.
Haya.
Shو دواو؟
Uko tayari acha ningi
Haya shو دواو؟
nikae hapa?
Haya.
Haya.
warkaada keen.
نعود الحمد لله.
Haya.
Fi'an.
Anoo keen.
iska socon caadi.
Fiiri geedahan oo ma aragtay gaaladan beeraha nooga shaqeeyaan.
Hadda coskan kan hadda waa xidid. Badi waxa la rabaa xididkan in la bixiyo. In la xidid siiyo. Kan haduu baxo coska ma soo baxaya.
Hii elimu yote, hata hii elimu tunasimama karibu yake nimenunua kwake. Hii elimu ndani ya hii shamba yote unaona elimu sio limau. Hii elimu ndogo ndogo yote nimenunua kwa Abdulkadir, nimechukua kwa Abdulkadir. Nimepeleka mara 3. Nimevuna, nikapeleka, tena ikizaa inazaa sawa sawa. tulikuwa na mbuzi nini. Sasa hali ya ukame ndio tumetoroka, nikaingia kwa shamba. Sasa naendelea na hii shamba yangu.
كوجرا ما حد يارس قد ما حد يارس
أنا هذا يقول ما بدي أعرف نبى قال لي ما كان كقاعد
زيتون مو فكرت
زيتون حاول وحين
so wana prefer gani?
Wanna prefer this smooth, this type of smooth.
So any specific, why not rough? Why smooth?
Because they tend to think iko na maji mingi.
What about the rough?
What they think. They also prefer the yellow one sometimes. Yellow inakuanga na maji mingi kuliko green.
Okay.
Sasa tukimikituma ya Juba sahi kama yenye nitaweka inaenda for 3 days. Naipata tu ikiwa sawa, naipata tu ikiwa like half a day.
3 days, so hiyo ni kama ton ngapi?
Tunaweka like 5
2 tons. So in a month that is 60 tons.
We don't want to be slaves. We want them to cancel the deaths of African countries for us to be able to adapt and mitigate climate change. What do we want? Climate justice. What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? Now.
Activism is very, very important, and I think it's activists that are really pushing these agendas forward, because you know, sometimes you can just sit and talk and then once we leave, that is it. But whenever you see me on these streets protesting and saying we need climate justice, we need climate action, then it raises that kind of question like, oh, hey, let's take a break. This is really happening. We have to do this.
What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? Now. Pay up. Pay up.
Now.
Damage. Pay up. Pay up. Pay up for loss and damage. Pay up. Pay up. Pay up for loss and damage.
We have a placard that says mazingira yetu wajibu wangu. I think that one is in Swahili. For you to be an activist, you have to really understand what is your passion as an individual. You have to place yourself in a situation where you have to think about the planet and say, okay, what is my passion for the planet? Is my passion planting trees? Is my passion speaking on behalf of other people? What do you think you want to fight for?
Madam Rahma aliwaambia kuhusiana na issue ya SDGs. Aliwaambia SDGs. Aliwaambia ndio inaitwa kwa Kiswahili nini? Maendeleo nini?
We have over 22 schools that we are working with here in Tanzania. Out of those schools, we have to train these young people so that we make them understand what climate change really is and what are some of the actions that they can take as individuals, as a young generation, because we are talking about them being given a seat on the table.
Wewe umesikia wapi hizo taarifa kwamba kuna mabadiliko ya tabia nchi?
Kwanza hapa, yani siku yangu ya kwanza kuona tabia nchi kwenye taarifa habari.
Uliona nini?
Niliona walikuwa wanasema kuwa hali ya hewa tabia nchi inabadilika sana. Na pia mwanangu wa pili kusikia nini tabia nchi, nilisikia kwenye darasani mwalimu alikuwa anatufundisha. Akatuambia tabia nchi maana yake na jinsi ya kudhibiti.
This is the most affected generation, talking about
2.8 billion young people around the globe. It means we are the most affected when we talk about climate change. We usually have these activities where we train them to come up with innovative ideas on what we can do for the planet, what are some of the solutions to impact or combat climate change. They are very creative. At that very young age, they can give you solutions and you're like, wow, what was I even doing in class? So it means that we need to also prepare them at a very young, little stage.
When you drive around Garissa, you will notice that there are a lot of pastoralists moving around with their livestock, looking for pasture for their livestock and water. So for us at Garissa Million Trees, one of the main reasons that we are planting trees, especially in deserted areas, is because these communities are able to have feed for their livestock.
The Mkwiro community is highly dependable on the ocean because one, the Mkwiro community is located on an island, and second, the main source of income or maybe food is through fishing. But that is not the only thing they do. Apart from the fishing, there's the tourism aspect, and that's how they highly depend on the ocean. And so if the coral reefs are degraded, if climate change comes into this, increases the temperature, destroys the life underwater, that would be so devastating to this community because all the activities, I'd say most of them, all relate to the ocean. I don't think we can reverse the damage caused by climate change. I think now as people, as individuals, apart from just conservationists or scientists, we need to learn how to adapt. Yes. Right now maybe we can just slow the process but not really reverse it.
As much as we cannot be big as governments or the United Nations bodies or international organizations, but the little that we do, the impact is felt at the community level. If I do my bit, that lady in Tanzania does her bit, that youth in the Kenyan coast, they do their part. If we all bring our efforts onto the table, we'll have done at least a 0.25% impact of the entire problems that creating solutions to the existing problems, especially in Africa.
We have to work together for us to combat climate change. If we work together, we'll be able to fight climate change. We'll be able to catch up with climate change and tell climate change, hey, we got you. So you have to let us be. We have to make sure that we adapt, we mitigate, we finance loss and damage. So it's all about working together as Africa. If that is the Africa we want, then we have to ensure that this Africa works together to achieve climate action.